Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Girl Listen, the mini podcast. I'm your host, KJ, and thank you so much for being here with me today. On today's episode, we're going to talk about legacy and what that means, especially for us women. A lot of the times when we talk about legacy, we think about leaving a name behind and what's going to be left for family or whatever, but we don't think about how our legacy defines us, how to build it, and why it's so important for us as women to reflect on our goals as part of shaping that legacy. Because if we don't define our legacy, who will? Now, before we dive too deeply into the topic, I just want to say this. What do you want people to remember about you? I know for me, I've been thinking a lot about just the impact that I make on people in my day to day life and the impact that I hope that I'm making on people in my day to day life. So let that marinate for a second and let's get into it. So, we're going to talk about it. So, when I say legacy, I'm not talking about the huge things or the super big things like creating a global empire or even being written down in history books. I'm more so talking about the impact that we are able to leave on people every day. When you're building your legacy, it really is about the everyday choices that we're making, the relationships that we're building and nurturing, and the values that we stand by. So, for example, are you known for lifting people up? Are you chasing your dreams unapologetically? If that is something that people always recognize about you, that really stands out about you, that might be a part of your legacy. And being completely honest, society loves to tell women to wait for someone else to define our story. But no, this is your life. It's your legacy. And you're the main character. Your legacy doesn't have to be tied to perfection. It's more so about authenticity. And speaking of which, I would love to share a quick story about someone that I thought about immediately when it came to leaving a legacy and aligning with just your value and your goals and your purpose. So, a lot of you may know this woman. I know her as my mom. And aside from being my mother, I have just watched her do so many things in our community, with the arts, with the youth, and anybody who knows her, anybody who you can ask, you will know that those are some of the things that she is super passionate about. I mean, I know people who knew my mom before they knew me. I know people who will come up to me and tell me how much, they love my mom and how much she has helped them and, just really shown them that, okay, you know what, I can do this. And for me, it's always felt really great because, of course, as her child, I feel that way. Like, I'm inspired. I can do this. I can really go after whatever I want because I've seen it done. But to know that those experiences have been shared with other people, and even though I get a little selfish when it comes to my family, especially my mom and my little brother and my grandma. Okay, my family. I get a little selfish when it comes to my family. I do thoroughly enjoy being able to share those parts of my mom with everybody that she touches in life. And it really also inspired me to think about, how am I touching people? What are people going to say after their interactions with me? How are they going to leave feeling? And I want to make sure that in my day to day, whether that be at work, whether I'm at the grocery store, the mall, the park, wherever that is, I want to leave people feeling just a little bit better, a little bit happier, feeling like they had somebody to talk to, or somebody to listen to. I just want to leave people with a good feeling. Now, I'm still fleshing out my plan, of course, and I'm still working on my goals, but I know what I want people to feel. And in that, I want to talk a little bit more about reflection because reflections have really allowed me to sit back and say, what have I been doing so far? How does this align with my values? And what goals do I want to set moving forward? And some more questions that I ended up asking myself is, what truly matters to me? What is most important to me? And how can I make that change, or how can I make that something come to fruition? How can I make it possible? Another question I ask is, am I setting goals that reflect my purpose, or am I just checking off society's boxes? That's a big one for me, because I've started to reevaluate my goals to make sure that they are just that, my goals, not where I feel like society says I should be at this point in my life, or not what I feel like society says I should be doing, but what I feel like my purpose is. And the last question I ask myself is, what small steps can I take this week, this month, this quarter to get closer to my dreams and to get closer to that legacy? So, take a couple seconds, drop down in the comments, maybe 2 or 3 words that you feel like you describe you and how you want people to see you. And in those 2 words, or with those 2 words, I should say, list 2 goals that align with those. So if you want people to see you as empowering, how might you set a goal that allows you to do that? Maybe you can become a mentor, or maybe join a cause or an organization that helps really serve and uplift. But that's what we're going with, because those small actions definitely add up. I'm definitely going to think about what my words are going to be, and I will be in the comments as well. We're going to have this conversation together. I love chatting with you guys. So, yeah, what are 2 words that you would use to describe yourself and how you want people to see you? And then what are 2 goals that align with those words? And another thing that I feel like is super, super, super important for anyone really is to celebrate your progress. Like I said, those small actions add up, the small wins matter, and sometimes we get so laser focused on the final destination or what the end goal is supposed to be that we forget to celebrate ourselves along the way. There are going to be some ups, there are going to be some downs, but don't let the downs keep you there. Celebrating those small wins is a for sure way that I help myself stay on track, and then also not get disappointed if I fall off, because we have room to grow. And like I always say, allow yourself space, but definitely make sure you're celebrating those small wins along the way. So let's wrap this up. Remember that your legacy starts with the choices that you make, whether that be today, tomorrow, next week, next month. They're your choices, and that's where your legacy is going to start. And as you're thinking about your legacy, reflect on your goals, align them with your values, and then figure out what the easiest first step you can take is, and take it. Just take it. So as you watch this episode, I want you to really think about what your legacy is, what you want that to be, and how you are going to build it. Because girl, listen, it's yours. It is your life, and it is your legacy. So again, thank you for listening to another episode of Girl Listen, the mini podcast. Don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe. Send this to someone who you feel like could also use a little bit of help building that legacy right now. And I cannot wait to catch you next week for another episode of Girl Listen.